Well, good evening to you. Trucker Todd here, as I'm sure you're aware of, and it's time for the Thursday night, in case you missed it, show. Boy, what a crazy week. We're going to do this one a little bit differently just because it's September 11th, and I don't think there's anyone here that doesn't remember where they were at or what they were doing when September 11th happened. I've heard people say that this reminds them of when the space shuttle exploded. Uh, I remember I think I was in third grade when it happened, and we were all watching it on TV, and it was just a real surprise to everybody. September 11th, I can remember where I was at, what I was doing when that happened, and I'm sure you can as well. On top of that, yesterday, conservative commentator and debater Charlie Kirk was assassinated in Utah. And honestly, that's been on my mind a lot today. I was a big fan of his, listened to a lot of his content on YouTube, things like that, Turning Point USA, and all of that. So a lot of that's been going on. Also, there was a bomb threat at the DNC today, and that's just as bad. We need to stop this on both sides. It's just crazy. And also, there was a school shooting today I believe it was in Colorado. So just a lot of crazy things going on, and we're going to get into all those tonight. But let's start off on a positive note. This is a positive channel. There's been some negativity here lately. We're going to try to stay off the negativity as much as we can tonight. But let's say hello to our channel members. We got a lot of them, and it's going to take me a minute to do this, which is a good problem to have. Let me get down here to everybody. I still hadn't found my mouse. I hadn't had time to go out there and look for it. And I've got some good news for Corey Oatley tonight. So starting off, we've got Robbie Ross, Ramon, Adam, Newman Attack, Adam again, Poplars, Ian MacArthur, Mark Ely, Lance Calhoun, and let's see if it'll let me read some more. 18-wheeler, Jordan B. Andrew Russell. P.U. Patel. Let me make sure I didn't forget anybody before we go through the rest of them. Jay Leatherman, Craig Hutchison, Chris Bollinger, Roar Fit, Ohio Trucker, The Incredible Bulk, Racing Ray, and also some of these stats aren't, well, I guess they are, and Corey Oatley. Corey Oatley became a channel member because he wanted to know where I was working. And to Corey Oatley, that information will be coming out at 9 a.m. in the morning. We'll be talking about where I'm working. And I want to say this before I get into your comments. What happened to Charlie Kirk, whether you agree with him or not, whether you like that he was a Christian or not, he's a father, he's a husband, he's somebody's son. And I would be upset about this the same way if it was Chuck Schumer or AOC or somebody on the left. There used to be a time when we could debate and disagree and still live peacefully among each other. You know who assassinates people they disagree with? Third world countries and communists. And we as a country, we're better than that. We don't assassinate opposing views. We actually welcome opposing views, and we actually want to hear people that disagree with us. Why? Because just like I talked about in my last video, the more people we can get together in a room talking and discussing things, like civilized adults, the more solutions we're going to come up with. And quite honestly, the better solutions we're going to come up with. So we've got to get over this. You know, how many Facebook friends have all of us lost because we didn't like what they said or they didn't like what we said? And we got to be bigger than that. It happens on here on YouTube. I'll say something and somebody won't like it, and all of a sudden they're unsubscribing. And we've got to be more open-minded. We need to be willing to hear other people's opinions, and it should never, never go to violence. I mean, I heard commentators talking about, oh, we're on the brink of a civil war. Well, we better hope not, because, I mean, I've said this too, and this is going to get me in trouble. Y'all go ahead, get mad. I don't care. We've got one side that has a whole lot of these devices that I can't say on here that look like this and go bang, bang. And we've got a whole other side that can't figure out what bathroom to use. So to them, a war is leaving you a negative review on Yelp or Google. And we got one side that they'll use these devices that look like this and go bang, bang. It's not going to be a very good war. I mean, what are they going to do? Scratch your eyes out? Pull your hair? I mean, we need to, and just because we got more power doesn't mean we should use it. We need to learn to negotiate. We need to learn to talk through our problems with each other and things like that. And you know, I was telling a guy earlier today, when I was in school, we had devices like I've been talking about in the rear window of our pickup trucks at school. We got in fights at school. We got mad at our teachers at school. Never once did I ever think about taking that out of my vehicle and taking it into the school. Principals knew we had it out there. Nobody cared because they knew we had the common sense not to take it into the school. So these school shootings is, hey, where's the parents? Where's the parents? I knew wherever one of those devices were in our house, and my parents would let me shoot any of those devices I wanted to, anytime I wanted to. But I never once went and got one of their devices without their knowledge or consent. And it just, our parents so wrapped up in their lives now that they don't even monitor what their kids are doing. And I was telling this story earlier today. A good friend of mine at the time, his first name was Matt, accidentally brought a pocket knife to school one day, and it was in his pocket. He forgot it was in there. His dad was a farmer, and I believe they had some cattle and things like that. And he'd been working on the farm all morning. He'd get up like 5:30, 6 in the morning, work on the farm a couple hours before he came to school. And he just forgot to take the pocket knife out of his pants. And, you know, one of the teachers saw the bulge in his pants. And I remember him getting in trouble for that. And he had no malintent. Had he gotten a fist fight at school that day, he wouldn't have pulled that knife on anybody. But, you know, now, if that same deal had happened, there would be just tons of legal ramifications and things like that. And I was talking about earlier today with somebody on the phone about, I remember when we used CB radios, and to stay awake at night while we were driving, we'd have political debate over the CB. Nobody got mad. Nobody said, pull over at the next exit, I'm going to beat you up, or I'm going to turn my CB off. It was just banter back and forth to keep each other awake. And we need to return to that time. It needs to be okay. You know, if I'm sitting in a room full of people and I say something somebody disagrees with, it needs to be okay for them to come back and say, Todd, I disagree with you. Here's why. Present me with facts. Then I present them with facts. You never know. We might change each other's mind on a subject, but we're never going to change each other's mind if we're, you know, cutting off the communication. I'm going to block you. I'm going to unfriend you. I'm going to write you a bad Yelp review. I'm going to write you a bad Google review. I'm going to try to get you taken off of YouTube. You'd be surprised how many times that's been tried and failed. And it's just a shame. We're slowly changing from the best country in the world to adopting the policies of communist and third world countries that none of us would want to live in. Anyway, that's just what I wanted to say about that. I've gone through my first 10-minute monologue. Let's jump in here and see what you got to say about it. If we can get my mouse to work. I'm having to use the laptop mouse because I still haven't had time to go to the rental car and find the other one. Some of my week I'm going to talk about in tomorrow's video, but I've had 2 truck selections, and it seems like the rest of the day is filled up pretty good as well. Midlife Trucker, Tom Bell. Before I read his comment, I just want to say publicly that I really appreciate him. He's been with me for a long time on here, and this week he gave me some much needed advice and encouragement, and I just want to publicly thank him for being here and for being a friend. Mac T says, I don't remember. I was 5. Yeah, I was driving a truck for a construction company, but on that particular day, they were building like a retirement community, and I was doing something within the retirement community. It seems like I was painting curbs or something like that. And I remember getting the call, and everybody was panicked. The call I got, they were like, run, get gas now. And I was like, that's not the way the supply chain works. We're not going to run out of gas unless everybody panics. It would take several days and maybe even several weeks for us to run out of gas. And but I remember the panic. I remember a lot of people, including family members, buying large quantities of water and storing it in their bathtub. And I thought, well, that's a really great idea until you need to take a bath. And we've had similar things happen. When that virus came out a couple of years ago that starts with a C that I can't say on here, and it sounds like I can't say it anyway, I'm stuttering, had a 19 on the end of it. People panicked and bought a ton of toilet paper and hand sanitizer and baby wipes and rubber gloves. And, you know, they don't understand warehouses or the supply chain or how those things work, I don't guess. Here's a really good comment from Travis. Please admit there's political violence on both sides. No side is better than the other. Otherwise, this political violence will never end. Yes, sir. That's why I mentioned it in my monologue. You know, for one thing, any high ground that the Republicans, that the right had, went out the window when the DNC got bomb threats today. That's no better. But, you know, if you don't like what the Charlie Kirks of the world have to say, just don't listen to them. If you don't like what the Chuck Schumers and the AOCs and the Hillary Clintons of the world say, then don't watch them. And don't support them. Don't contribute to their political campaigns and things like that. But don't go out and silence them, because that makes us just like every third world country. And this is one of those times, you know, I thought back on September 11th today. On September 12th, we were all together. We were all on the same team. And I remember thinking how great it would be if we could stay like this forever. But now it's nothing more than the Republicans and the Democrats are 2 sports teams. And whatever team we're on, we got to root for them. And whatever they do is good, and whatever the other side does is bad. And the truth is, nobody is right 100% of the time. Not the Republicans, not the Democrats, and also nobody is wrong 100% of the time. Not the Republicans, not the Democrats. The best thing each and every one of us could do, including those political figures, is listen to both sides and try to find something in the middle that is the best for all of us, or at least most of us. It's really tough to make something that benefits everybody, but we try to help as many people as we can. It's like this channel. I've done almost 700 videos. It's really tough to make a video that somebody doesn't disagree with, or that doesn't offend somebody. I try my best. I really do. I used to say, hey guys, what's going on? And I offended some females that watch. So I try to remember to say, hey folks, or hey y'all, or something like that. But I mean, there's a certain percentage of the population that's looking to be offended, and that's not right either. We need to be able to hear opposing views. And one side's not better than the other if we're doing the exact same things. If we're going to say, hey, it's bad what you did to Charlie Kirk, but it's great that we're having bomb threats at the DNC, then no, that's not it at all. We've got to be better, and we got to do better. Moderator Red Raider Reloading says, hello everyone. Hey Red Raider, thank you for coming in tonight. Mac T, I've said it, the media is trying to divide us all. I refuse to pick sides. I listen to everyone's views, and I either agree or respectfully agree to disagree. Yes, sir, that's the way to be. And it's true, and our political parties are trying to do it. Why do I need to know that, African American men under age 30 feel this way, and white men above 30 feel this way, and Catholics feel this way, and we're all humans. We all want the same thing, whether we want to admit it or not. We all want to be able to take care of our families, put a little bit in savings, and retire peacefully. We want our kids to do well, our grandkids to do well, and we want to have a generally happy life. We can do that without all these subcategories. I mean, I sat in a class, a very diverse class this week, of pretty much every race and ethnicity you could think of. And I met a lot of really good people in there. Imagine how much I would have lost if I said, well, I'm not going to talk to this guy because he's Hispanic, or he's black, or I'm not going to talk to that guy because I don't like old people, or I'm not going to talk to this guy because I think he's too young. Imagine if I divided that classroom up the same way that the media and these political parties divide us all up. We're all Americans, and we all need to be like we were on September 12th, 24 years ago. And Mac T, I agree with you completely. I think we would all be better off if we did exactly like you're doing. And you always put good comments on here. I know you're a nice, level-headed guy that thinks clearly. We need a lot more people like you, especially right now, and especially this week when all this craziness is going on. All righty, we got Roger Berry here. He says, hey now, hey. I do want to tell y'all some more stuff real quick. Still don't want to talk about where I'm working. That video is coming out at 9 in the morning. I've gone through 2 truck selection processes, still haven't got a truck. There was about, I want to say 17 of us waiting yesterday, 14 of us waiting today. I think 3 or 4 people got seated today. I'm hoping to get something tomorrow. If I don't, I'll be here through the weekend, and I'll be able to do a lot of videos because I ain't got nothing else to do. So if you see a lot of videos the next few days, that's why. That one will come out at 9 in the morning saying where I'm working. And then who knows, that evening we may do a live and talk about it, get your opinions on it, or Saturday or Sunday. If I'm in the truck, if I'm driving, if I get one tomorrow, then I'll probably do another recorded video that'll come out either sometime this weekend or Monday, depending on when I can edit it. And it'll say what truck I got and show you pictures of it and things like that. And Red Raider Reloading moderator. Well there. Yes, sir. Blue Shadow moderator is here. What's going on, drivers? Not much. We're just kind of reflecting over the last 24 years since September 11th. And we're talking about the crazy things that's happened the last 2 days with Charlie Kirk getting shot. And today there was a school shooting in Colorado. The DNC offices. I don't know if it's the headquarters or just some of their offices got bomb threats. And I'm just announcing both sides. I don't think there's anything that separates us from third world countries when we do stuff like that. We need to stop silencing the other side and start listening to the other side. And that goes for both sides. If you don't like what the current administration's doing in office, then fine, give us some better ideas. Tell us what you would do. And if the current administration doesn't like what the other side's doing, do something about it. There's an old saying we used to have: if you feel froggy, jump. If you feel like you can make this country a better place, then make it a better place. But at the same time, listen to other sides, kind of like what we do in here. You guys come in here and disagree with me all the time, and I'm fine with it as long as we can keep it respectful. And so that's what needs to happen. We can't go 3 or 4 more weeks with the insanity we've had this week. This Charlie Kirk death needs to be a warning to all of us on both sides. If you don't like what he said about transsexuals, then fine, don't like it. Just don't listen to him. I remember when I was a kid and HBO came out, and I had an uncle, not the one that comes in here. I had another uncle that he had HBO, and my parents were opposed to HBO initially I'm getting the story backward. One of us had HBO. Heck, I'm old. It's 40 years ago. Bear with me. And the other family said, we don't want to get HBO because of what goes on that channel after dark. And one side, I don't remember if it was my uncle or my dad, said, well, when I don't like what they're showing, I quit watching it. And that's what we've all got to do. It's, if we don't like what somebody says, first we need to listen to them and make sure they're saying what we've heard they were saying. There's a lot of stuff said on both sides that's not true. And but if we listen and we're like, man, I don't like this male or female, they agree with my religious beliefs or disagree with my religious beliefs, they disagree with my political beliefs, then maybe we stop watching them or we only watch them periodically. I've shared that I watch other news networks occasionally that I disagree with just to hear what the other side thinks. But we need to give them a voice, and they need to give us a voice. Both sides need a voice, and we shouldn't be trying to silence each other or cancel. They call it cancel culture. We need to stop that. And Todd Packer's in here. He says, rest in peace, the great Charlie Kirk. Yeah, I really like him. Great debater. He came to Lubbock a few years ago. I saw a friend of mine had posted a picture with him, and I didn't even know he was in town. Not sure I knew who he was that many years ago. I've only been watching him the last year or so, but I love watching him go to these college campuses and debate. And I loved his knowledge and his facts. And for me to be able to do that, I'd have had to have some cheat sheets there. There's no way I could remember all the facts and figures that he remembers. Maybe I could when I was his age. I don't know. Red Raider Reloading moderator. The left wants us to be a communist country. I personally think that some of the left-wing followers are Satan's Communist Party and will destroy anything that doesn't align with their beliefs. Yeah, I could see why you feel that way. My thing is, the only thing we need to be canceling right now is the violence and the hate speech and the cancel culture. A lot of people died so that those people can have their satanic beliefs. And as long as they're not, I'm kind of a live and let live kind of guy. You do what you want to do, and I'm going to do what I want to do. And as long as your stuff doesn't interfere with my stuff, I'm okay with it. You can go to church, not go to church. You can drink, you cannot drink. To an extent, you can even do drugs, and I don't care. Just keep it to yourself. Don't get out there and drive. Don't put me in jeopardy. If you want to practice your satanic beliefs, I disagree with them, but I mean, it's your choice. You've got to live with the decisions you make in your life. And so, yeah, I agree. that there's some wackos on the left, but I'll turn around and agree there's some wackos on the right. And I think we need to listen to both sides. And the normal people in here that have common sense and have life experience need to listen to both sides and find something in the middle. We don't all need to go, well, he's a Republican, so I agree with him, or she's a Democrat, so I agree with her. We need to, we just all need to take a deep breath. And I used to be a hothead. I used to be the hothead that wanted to fight everybody. In the last couple of years of my dad's life, I started calming down and trying to be more like him. And now I don't want to fight. We were talking about this at the yard today when we were doing truck selection. I'm not going to fight up there for any truck on that lot. If it means that much to you, if you want that truck that bad, I'm going to let you have it. Another one will come, and I'll be just fine. Why? Because there was a really nice one today, a black one that I really liked. It was the newest one we've seen so far. I really wanted it. A guy beat me out there to it fair and square, and he picked that truck. So I don't know, that truck may go 3 miles and break down. It may run 3 years and him never have a problem. But I'm glad he got the truck. He got it fair and square. He followed the rules. And so I'm happy for him. He came down to my room a little bit ago, and I congratulated him. We were kind of out on the porch talking, and I'm happy for him. There's no hard feelings, but I've told the class there's not a situation where I'm going to fight you for one of these trucks. You tell me you want it, I'm going to let you have it, and I'll get the next one. And so I think I'm adapting some of my dad's more passive ways in my old age. Now, there are some things that are still worth fighting for, but something like that is petty. And a lot of the stuff, when we think about it, that we're fighting over these days, it's really petty. I mean, come on, y'all. Let me see here. I gotta go up for a point of reference before I can read this next comment. I'm gonna pull that one off while I look. Well, I don't see it, so somebody may have pulled this comment. Let me see if I can figure out what I missed. I want to make sure. Some people said their comments got blocked. Some people said that I didn't read their comments. And I just want to make sure that everybody has a voice. I don't see that one. I'm going to go ahead and read it. Todd Packer says, Travis, get out of here, you liberal transformer. I don't see any comments from Travis. If it's the Travis I think he is, he's become a pretty good friend. So I do want to hear his comment and what he's got to say. But I don't think he's a liberal. If this is the Travis I think he is, we've talked about some of this stuff the last couple of days, and I think his beliefs are similar to mine. Steve P., good afternoon. Good afternoon, Steve P. Thank you for being here. Mac T., you have something going on. Tell your adult parent, and your adult parents talk to the principal. Also, cell phones are raising our youth, and we know what's on those cell phones. Yeah, that's another great point. There's so much bad. You know, I can remember when my kids were little, the way you babysat them is you sit them in front of the TV and you put on Barney the dinosaur. And the songs would drive you crazy, but if you needed to do some vacuuming or housework or throw the trash or something, you knew your kids were good for at least 30 minutes watching Barney. But now the internet has expanded so much, and there's so much out there that our kids get exposure to that we don't even know about. I mean, you've got the whole world on your phone now. There's adult content. There's child predator content. There's all kinds of stuff out there. There's people with crazy viewpoints getting access to our kids. And the reason they call TV programming is because that's exactly what's happening. You're being taught to think a certain way and feel a certain way. And parents really need to be monitoring what their kids do. And hey, I get it. I'm glad I'm an empty nester now. I'm a busy guy. People here at orientation find out. I mean, there's times we want to hang out, and I've got so many calls and emails to return that I've had several of them tell me, I'm glad I'm not on YouTube. I'm glad I don't do what you do. I don't think I would like it. And I say, well, it kind of grows on you. You meet a lot of cool people, you help a lot of people, and you have a lot of fun. But as in anything in life, those of you that have done a lease purchase or started your own business at some point, you probably had somebody tell you you're crazy for doing that. You're never going to be successful. You're going to fail. Heck, you may have failed. You may have failed several times. But go back and look at Abraham Lincoln and how many times he failed before he finally got it right. Mac T, try to change each other's mind or reach a mutual agreement and move on. Yeah, that's the kind of people I like to bring on the show and debate with. People that I know when the show ends, we're still going to be friends. We may not agree, but we're still going to be friends. And I've had some people in the past that were really good for that. And at some point in time, they get offended about something and they hit the road. And it's a shame. I still think about those people and I wish we were friends. But I guess they get their feelings hurt too easy. Todd Packer, liberals are out of control. Yeah, there's some that are. There's a couple that I think that I don't agree with what they say, but I think that they're more reasonable. But obviously, if we've got bomb threats at the DNC, we've got some on our side that we need to deal with. And here's a great point that I had just started considering when I saw this. Red Raider Reloading moderator. He's a smart guy. I just got off the phone with him a little bit ago, and I like talking to him because he sometimes he challenges my thought process, and we can disagree on stuff, and he and I'll still be friends. He says, what makes you think a Republican called in the bomb threat? It could very well be a lunatic left-winger trying to make the right look violent. We've had that happen before, and you're right. That's true, and I concede that. So you're right about that. It could be a left-winger, and I'm sure we're going to find out in the coming days. I just always want to check myself before I check somebody else. So before I say, the left needs to stop doing that, they need to quit doing that, they need to quit thinking this way, I want to throw it out to our side too. If there's anybody thinking that we need to go tit for tat, and if somebody got Charlie Kirk, we need to get somebody on their side. No, we need to stop. We need to listen to both sides, and we need to form our own opinions. And it doesn't matter what team we're on. Sometimes we need to agree with the Democrats. Sometimes the Democrats need to agree with President Trump. They may not like him. They can still hate him, but they can say on this day when he did this, that was a good idea. And then that gives them a ton more credibility the next time when they genuinely disagree with him on something. But instead of just saying, I don't like his idea, it's stupid, he's a racist, he's a homophobe, he's a this, he's a that, say, I don't like his idea, here's why. Here's what I would do instead. This is why my idea is better than his idea. That's how you change the country in the direction that you want. You don't say, I'm a Democrat, vote for me on everything because your parents were Democrats and you should be a Democrat and your kids should be a Democrat. Or I'm a Republican and Republicans are always right. No, nobody's right 100% of the time. We've got to get more open-minded as a country. If we're just going to kill each other when we don't agree with each other, then we're going to be a third world country in a few years, or a communist country. And for some people, that's exactly what they want. Ted Van Buskirk. Hello, sir. Hope all is well. Just got home from work. Man, I'm glad to see you in here tonight. Thank you for coming in, Ted. My days have been crazy. I think Saturday and Sunday might be pretty tame. So I know I was supposed to call a lot of you today. And quite honestly, I don't think I got anybody called. So hang in there with me. I'm going to get to each and every one of you. Some of you had some questions for me, and you were able to get me through text or email. And I'll get back to everybody as soon as I can. I would recommend, if I hadn't got back to you yet, go ahead and shoot me an email at todd@truckertodd.net. Or if you've got my number, give me a call. If you're in my orientation class and you want to stay in touch, get my phone number from me and give me a call or text sometime. Let me know how you're doing. Like I said, I've met a lot of good people here. Let's see, Mac T, for example, part of the headline yesterday after the assassination wrote, Trump ally deceased at 31. The Trump ally is totally unnecessary. He's a human being. That's true. I wouldn't have used those words. I would have said conservative commentator, conservative debater, or I said it earlier. I can't think of the name of it. The name of his organization founder assassinated earlier today in Utah, something like that. We don't have to, everything doesn't have to be attached to Trump, and everything doesn't have to be attached to Obama or your favorite Democrat. Sometimes bad things happen in the world. Sometimes bad things happen in our personal life. I've had some bad things happen in my personal life lately. All of you have probably had some bad things happen in your personal life lately. Bad things happen. Not everything good that happens is Trump's fault, but also not everything bad that happens is Trump's fault, or Obama's or Hillary's or anybody else's fault. Sometimes just bad stuff happens. There's bad people in the world. There's evil in the world. And we don't cure that, but like you're saying, Mac, we don't cure that by not hearing what the other side has to say, or trying to cancel somebody's YouTube channel, or trying to get somebody fired from work, things like that. That doesn't move the ball down the field anywhere. And I'm sure tomorrow when my video comes out about where I'm working, someone, probably 2 or 3 people, are going to try to sabotage me. And, I'm prepared for that. But why? I mean, if you called me and told me you worked at Western Express, I'd say, man, how's it going? You'd say, I love it here, or I hate it here. If you said, I love it here, I'd say, man, that's great. I'm glad you found something you like. I wouldn't call there and try to get you fired. If you said, man, I hate it here, it's the worst company ever, I'd say, oh, man, what do you not like about it? And then I would try to see if I could offer you advice to make it better. And we don't have that now. I will guarantee you, when I announce where I work at 9 a.m. tomorrow, somebody's going to try to sabotage me. And I don't know their motives yet. You tell me who it is, and I'll tell you what their motive was. I know who wants to get me and why they want to get me. But, yeah, that's where we're at, unfortunately. Jordan B., who's a channel member. Evening, finally catching a live, watching the replays, though. I appreciate you. The replays need to be watched. And give me a thumbs up when you watch the replay, and leave a comment. Even if it's just, hey, how are you doing? I'll respond back to you. That also helps the algorithm. It helps these videos get out. I don't care if you just put a dot there, put something, and I'll still come back and say thanks for watching, or like your comment or something like that. But it's been a while since I said this, so I'm going to say it again. I really do, every one of you watching these videos. whether you love me, whether you hate me, whether you think I'm a genius or you think I'm stupid. I appreciate each and every one of you watching this because I couldn't do it without you. I would get bored just sitting here talking to my laptop in a hotel room all week, all by myself. So sometimes it gets hectic. Sometimes I get stressed if I get, 10 or 15 calls at once. But I do try to, it's why I focus so hard on responding to every comment, because I know there's a lot of YouTubers out there that won't respond, that know you could be doing other things, but you've chosen to watch my videos and put in a comment. And I appreciate every one of you. And I just want to throw that in there. It's not pandering or kissing up. I really do appreciate everybody taking the time to be here. Newman Attack channel member Todd, only one side is all out on silencing everyone they don't agree with. Wanting a better world won't make it happen. True. There's a little bit of truth to that. There is one side that it's more prevalent in currently, but I mean, I think we've got some people on the right that would like to silence some people too. And I just I know my video is probably not going to change anybody's mind or make anybody do anything different, but I'm hoping some of you'll just listen what I'm saying and try to have an open mind. And if you feel like your side is one of the sides that might be trying to silence people, or that might be against active debate, or is part of the cancel culture, then maybe you can influence change on your side. But yeah, right now things seem slanted, and I just would like to see things level out. And I'm always going to be optimistic. I'm always going to hope for better. That doesn't mean it'll happen in my lifetime, but that's not going to stop me from praying for it or hoping for it or trying to influence towards it. Alaska Hall, who I recently met a couple of months ago. The problem with the other side is that they are mainly crazy and lunatics. Well, we did see some of that. I would encourage all of you, if you never saw Charlie Kirk's video, just type his name in on YouTube. And what he was doing was going around to college campuses and trying to talk to students and trying to offset what college professors are teaching on campuses right now. And like I say, you may not agree with everything he says, but some of the people that come up to debate him are hilarious. And that's kind of a way you can hear both sides, and you can listen to Charlie Kirk. And this is a way his legacy can live on. You can listen to Charlie Kirk, and you can listen to these college students, and you can, in your mind, determine which side sounds more logical, which side sounds more reasonable. Of these two opposing ideas, which one of these would I want our country to be ran under? And if it's the college student, it's the college student. You heard both sides. But if you're of a reasonable age, you're probably going to agree with Charlie Kirk more. Now, let me say this. There's a saying. I used to hear Rush Limbaugh say this. If you're 18 and you're not a liberal, you don't have a heart. If you're 35 and you're not a Republican, you don't have a brain. So it's a joke. None of you get mad at me. This is part of that listening and not getting upset. Mac T, yeah, it was impressive that he had all this information he remembered and could reference on a dime. He wasn't a college grad either. Yeah, they threw that up in his face pretty regularly. Well, you're not a college student. And, I think there's a place for college, but I think over the course of my life, I've made more than a lot of my peers that I went to high school with that went to college. I don't think that college guarantees you a good life or a good education. Well, maybe a good education. It doesn't guarantee you a good life or success. I think making good decisions makes you have a successful life. Good decisions. And Is there a little bit of circumstance and chance in there? Yeah. Sometimes you need a good opportunity. Sometimes networking helps. But, they would say, they'd basically call him a bully and say, well, you're coming to a college campus. Why are you talking to kids? And I heard him give two answers. One of them was, well, because you're old enough to vote, right? And they're like, yeah. And he's like, well, I'm interested in engaging voters. And he's like, well, don't you go before a college professor every day? That college professor is older than me. I'm 31. And so what's different from him talking to a student and a college professor giving his views and opinions to a college student? And that kind of circles back around to what I was saying about hearing other sides. Him going into these college campuses, I'm sure that he changed a few people's minds. I'm sure he changed several hundred people's mind, maybe even thousands. It's a number we'll never know. And I'm sure some people went in there saying, I'm never going to change my mind. But at least they heard both sides. Now, with age and maturity, hopefully they'll get more open-minded and they'll listen to both sides. And man, it's a big loss when we lost Charlie Kirk. There's no other way to look at this. Alaska Hall, can't argue with crazy. That's right. So stop arguing with me. I know I'm crazy. Hey, look who's here. Channel member and moderator, Robbie Ross. Hello, friends from Indy. Just dropped off to Menominee tomorrow. I see. Good deal, my friend. Thank you for being here. You've been in Indy for a while. Let me get up here a little bit. Trying to figure out what I missed. Some of the comments are not coming through. Maybe I can find them on my phone quicker. All right, I'm not sure what one of these comments is. Okay, I get it. He's talking about me assuming that it was somebody on the right that did the Democratic National bomb threat today. He said I didn't. Okay, good deal, man. Sometimes I get far behind in the comments and it takes me a minute to figure out what everybody's talking about. Red Raider Reloading, moderator. Y'all need to watch Sean Ryan podcast with John Rich. Yeah, John Rich used to come on Fox News a lot, and I liked him, but I used to like Candace Owens too. She said some stuff lately that I'm not in total agreement with, but I hadn't stopped listening to her because of it. I also like Harris Faulkner on Fox, and I like Greg Gutfeld when he's on the 5, not so much when he does his late night show, but he's a pretty good debater. Jesse Waters is pretty good, but Charlie Kirk was on a whole nother level, and I definitely am going to miss his commentary. Mac T says he watches SRS as well as Red Raider does. He loves listening to him go down the road. I will check that episode out. Yeah, I'm going to have to check it out too. And Jordan B, channel member, recommends listening to InfoWars as well. All right, folks, I got to tell y'all this before we go any further. Y'all know how my brain and memory are these days. You may have to send me these in a text message. And then there's about a 50% chance I'll get time to watch them, but I'll try if you send me a text message or an email with this information. I'm new to podcast. I'm trying to get my stuff on a podcast, but I'm still learning about it. I don't know everything. So I've got to learn about that. But hopefully this will be available in a podcast soon, which is really appealing to me because then there's no video playing. And if you get pulled over by law enforcement, all you're doing is listening to me while you're driving. You can still put the phone face down or turn it away from you where you can't see it. But I would just feel better if it was in a podcast format and you weren't getting yourself in trouble. Red Raider Reloading moderator. Mac T, he touches on religion, John Rich. Yeah, he does. John Rich does. Gary Cook, good evening, everybody. Hope all are doing good. Yeah, I'm doing good, Gary. I'll send you that text message in the morning when I wake up, or at least by 9 or so. In the morning, I got to get over and get breakfast, but after that, I'll shoot you that message with the information you were looking for. Red Raider Reloading moderator. Mac T, John Rich touches on a religion, etc., but it's a real chilling episode. You got me curious now. I'm going to have to go check it out. I may text you tomorrow and ask you the name of it, but I'll try to check it out. Mac T says, I can't wait. I try to wait until I start driving to listen to pass time. I'm kind of in the shop right now. Oh, man, that stinks. What's wrong with your truck? Ted Van Buskirk, let's all get along and work together and be happy to live life. Yeah, that would be great. It's the utopia that actually, if you go back and read some of the communist writings, that's what they wanted, was a utopia where everything was perfect. The only problem with that is nothing is perfect. And I think sometimes we forget that no man on earth is perfect. There's only one perfect person. He's been gone a couple thousand years. But, some of y'all think I'm perfect, and trust me, I'm not. I have my flaws. People in orientation with me this week have seen my flaws. I make mistakes just like you do. And that's actually why I give good advice, because I've made so many mistakes. I just tell you, don't do what I did. If you want a better life than I've got, if you want a better result than me, don't do what I did. If you want what I got, do what I did. And so I want you to keep that in mind. Sometimes I'm going to make mistakes. Sometimes I'm not going to be perfect. I always try my best. And if I realize I made an error, if I realize I made a mistake, I'll apologize. I don't have a problem with that. I apologized to a guy yesterday. He texted me. He said, Todd, you've said some really bad things about me in your videos, and basically said I hurt his feelings. He didn't use those words, but he said, you really, I thought we were friends. I can't believe that you said what you said. And instead of blowing up and getting defensive and getting mad, I sat there for a minute and I thought about it from his perspective. I said, you know what? You're right. I said, at the time, I thought of something funny and I said it, and I wasn't meaning to hurt your feelings or upset you, but it was wrong of you. And I promise you, I'm going to do my best not to make fun of you anymore. I can't guarantee you that I won't ever do it, but I can guarantee you I'm going to do my best not to. And so he got an apology out of me. And that's happened a couple of times. Now, if it wasn't because I thought anything, I wasn't scared, I wasn't nothing like that, but I could see his point. I could see, it goes back to I wouldn't have liked it done to me. Now, if I'd have said something that wasn't a joke that I really believed, then I'd have said, well, I'm sorry you don't like it, but it's a fact. But the stuff he was referring to, the examples he gave me, it was wrong of me to make fun of him. And I wouldn't have liked it if somebody made fun of me that way. So sometimes we can get amped up on these YouTube streets, and we can say and do things that if we would just stop and think about it for a second, we might have done something different. And that's the same thing with, like hearing both sides. I didn't blow up at him when he said, hey, Todd, you said something about me and I didn't like it. I said, really, can you give me some examples? And he did. Well, you said this and you said this. And I remembered saying those things. I said, my first reaction was, yeah, and I thought it was hilarious. And then I realized that it really bothered him. I'm like, whoa, man, I'm sorry. You know, he wasn't threatening me. He wasn't yelling. He was talking real calm. I said, you know what? I wouldn't have liked somebody to do that to me either. I get it, man. I'm sorry. And not only am I sorry, but I'm going to do my best to make sure it happens again. Now, I'm a human. I may slip at some point, but if I realize I'm slipping, I'm going to apologize again to you, because I wouldn't want that to happen to me. So I can understand why you don't want it to happen to you. And I think, you know, some of people are going to say stuff about me and say, oh, you should never apologize. But I think that comes with being an adult and being a maturity, being able to admit when you're wrong, or even if you didn't realize you were wrong, uh, being able to correct yourself when you go the wrong direction. Some things, you know, I used to have a sales manager, and he said, sometimes life don't give you a second chance. And that was many, many years ago when he said that. And I've thought about that over the years. And, you know, sometimes something bad can happen and you can recover from it. Sometimes you can make a bad decision and life don't give you a second chance. You can cheat on your wife and she may give you a second chance, or sometimes life don't give you a second chance. So when you realize that you've done something wrong, you need to try to rectify it in the best way you can. Steve Given. Hey, Todd, sorry I'm late. No problem, my friend. Thank you for being here tonight. Red Raider Reloading channel member Charlie wanted students to be self thinkers. Absolutely. And when I was a kid, they encouraged you to be a self thinker. Somewhere down the line, we've become like the Borg on Star Trek. They want us to all be the collective now, all march to the same beat, all think the same way. And we need to do our self thinking. That's what I was talking about in my monologue at the start of the show. Hear both sides and make your own opinion. Don't look and see if there's an R or a D. Just listen to both sides and think, man, would I want to live in a world like that? Maybe I would, maybe I wouldn't. Which of these ideas is going to be better for me and my family? And that's what we all need to do. Evidently, here's a Red Raider Reload and moderator. U.S. Naval Academy just went into lockdown due to a threat. Since I'm on here, I did not see that. What's going on with that? Can y'all give me some details in the comments so I can react to it? Probably not a smart idea to attack the Naval Academy, though. I'm just going to guess here, but I bet they've got access to some weapons. Probably are to leave the Naval Academy alone. Also, I bet there's a couple of Navy SEALs around there, and I guarantee you you're going to have a bad day if you try to take one of them on. Mac T says he saw that too, Red Raider. I guess I'll get caught up on that tonight. That may be what we talk about tomorrow if I'm able to do a live tomorrow. Gary Cook says, I had to replace my cell phone yesterday. It quit working. It's an Apple product. So do you still have the same number? If you do not, then email me at todd@truckertodd.net and give me your new number, because I want to send you that information in the morning, especially knowing about your situation. I got several of you I need to contact tomorrow with various things. I really dropped the ball today just being busy, but I want to get you guys the information that all of you need. All right, let me see how I can do this. I'm going to have to take a picture of it with my phone, or, well, let me get a screenshot. That way I can go back and hopefully get that link later and take a look at it. There's the link for everybody else. Red Raider, Reload, and Moderator. Here's the link. So I'll have to find out about that story. Gary Cook says he has the same number. All right, good deal. We were texting earlier today, and I'll get you that stuff in the morning. Robbie Ross, channel member, moderator. 2 people were shot. An ex-cadet returned with a weapon. That's really sad. That's really sad. And I would say this. I think we've got to get better about screening for mental health. And we've got to get better about reporting it. It's the old, if you see something, say something, that they tell you at the airport. If you see somebody drop a backpack and walk away, don't just assume that everything's normal. Tell somebody, let somebody check it out. And same thing, if you're a cadet in the military and the guy beside you looks like he's a little off, kind of touch base with him, talk to him, make sure he's okay, because it just takes a triggering mechanism to set people off. And you don't know what that guy beside you is dealing with or going through in their life. And we got to be mindful of that. It's, nobody wants to be a snitch. Nobody wants to be a Karen, but we're going through some stressful times right now. There's a lot of people that are suffering, that are hurting, and there always is, but there's really a lot right now globally. And desperate people do desperate things, and we need to be mindful of that and careful of what we say. I'll give you an example. There's a truck driver I know that he's gone through a lot of stressful stuff lately, and I've said some critical things to him both publicly and privately. And I contacted some of his close friends. I said, "Is he okay? Is he going to hurt himself?" And they said, "No, he's fine." And I was concerned that he was going to hurt himself. I was like, "Hey, I'll back down if you think he's going to hurt himself. You tell me he's going to hurt himself, and I'll back down." And they're like, "No, he's fine." I talked to his best friend actually, and so the other day there was a lot that hit me. I was pretty down, and then I left here and I went to. They've got a restaurant here where we eat for free, and I had basically breakfast. It was after breakfast hours, and I had a smothered steak, and a couple of drivers were talking to me, and one of them was telling me about the last 3 years of his life. And he's like, "Todd, you're not the only one." He's like, "I've gone through something similar." And I thanked him at the end of the story. I said, "Your story has helped me a lot, because when you're going through something, you tend to think you're the only one that's going through it. Nobody's ever been through your situation. Nobody could possibly understand." And it's nice when somebody comes up and says, "Hey man, I get it. I've been going through something similar. And here's how I got through it. Here's what I see. Here's what I think." And while everybody else is piling on you, it's nice to have somebody. And there was actually 2 or 3 people that day that did similar things. And it really made a difference. And I thanked them all. I was like, "Wow, your story really helped me. I needed to hear that." Mac T says, "That's just sad." Yes, sir. He's referring to the 2 people that were shot on the U.S. Naval Academy. Newman Attack, channel member. "I want to be a snitch." Well, from what I've found out recently, I'm a backstabber. But like everything else, I excel at backstabbing. So it's, if you're going to be bad, be really bad. And if you're going to be good, be really good. But evidently, whatever I do, I'm really good at it. I'm really good at backstabbing. And I'm really good at making false videos that aren't true. Robbie Ross, channel member and moderator. "It's being reported that he said he was an MP to get cadets to open the door." Yeah, but how did he get through the main gates? Because I mean, they've got main gates. There's a lot of that I don't know. I mean, my grandpa, I called him Papa. He used to say, a lock only keeps honest people out. And that's true. If somebody wants to break into your truck, you locking the doors ain't going to stop them. Now, it may slow them down a little bit. If somebody wants to break into my motel room, the locks aren't going to stop them. It might slow them down a little bit. But if they want to get in here, they're going to get in here. What we've got to do is start recognizing that there's evil in the world. And we've got to start recognizing it, paying attention. Put your phone down and talk to the people around you. See if people are okay, where their mind's at. If they're joking about hurting themselves or hurting somebody else, man, you might need to take a look at that. You would hate for somebody to be crying out for help, telling you, hey, when they get to their room tonight, they're going to hurt themselves. And you thought, he's just joking. And then the next morning you find out they're no longer with us. So just asking everybody to pay attention. If you've got it, they've had a bunch of church shootings and school shootings lately. If somebody's saying, hey, I'm going to go do this and that, when one day, we used to joke about it. Me and another friend of mine, when we was in second grade, we used to joke about burning down the school. We wrote poems about it, and we would give them to the teacher, and she'd read them and laugh. She knew we had no malintent at all. We were watching the Three Stooges and Red Fox and comedy, and we would do comedy stuff and talent shows and stuff like that. We were harmless, and the teacher was a big supporter of it. She's part of the reason that I have the YouTube channel, because she made me not afraid to say what I think and feel how I feel. And she was very influential in my life. Her name was Miss Boydston. And so it sounds like I'm losing my voice. So that's what I would say about that is, now if me and that kid were still in school these days, we'd both be in a juvenile detention center. But back then, they liked free thinkers. You could think as long as you never acted. And she knew we were joking. We'd make funny songs about the school burning down because we didn't go to school. But when I did do something wrong, got in a fight on the playground, we did some mean stuff on the playground. That's a video for another day. But if I did deserve a whooping, I got my whooping and went to class. I'll just give you one example of some mean things we did when we were in school. When I was in first grade, me and a couple of my friends got some kindergartners, and we put them under the merry-go-round, and we would spin the merry-go-round. This is bad. I shouldn't be telling this story. And it would make the thumping noise going around like Wheel of Fortune, and we were playing Wheel of Fortune. Boy, we got a bad whipping that day. When I was in kindergarten, this is another story I shouldn't tell. I painted during nap time. I took my Crayolas and colored the squares on the floor a checkered pattern like I had seen in a Pop-Tarts commercial. And I got in pretty big trouble for that too. So I was pretty mischievous as a kid. I was the class clown, made everybody laugh. But yeah, that was some of the stuff we did that I got in trouble for. What did some of y'all do in school that you got in trouble for? Newman Attack, channel member. Bro, I'm the king of backstabbers. Fly Rabbit says so. Yeah, I know what you mean, man. Steve Given, how long is orientation at the new company? So it was supposed to be 3 days. Because the third day is generally when you do your truck stuff. They didn't have a truck. I technically did 2 days of orientation, and they're paying me to stay in the hotel, and they're paying for my hotel and rental car and everything, feeding me, fully taking care of me until they get more trucks here. And they will continue to do that as long as I'm reasonable on truck selection. And they've got a procedure you follow. Tomorrow I got to check in it too. For example, They give you a list. They want you to go out and look at the trucks and give them feedback about what you want, what you don't want. If we had several today that did not walk out to the trucks, and that's something that they will frown on. Now, I say they didn't walk out. Maybe they walked out later and I didn't see them, but I was one of the first ones out there. As soon as I can get a truck and go to work, I want to. The orientation pay is great. But there was a sign-on bonus, a $2,500 sign-on bonus that they pay out over time. And you get that once you deliver your first load on time, you get part of it. I think it's, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's $500 after you deliver your first load on time. And then the rest is like 30, 60, and 90 days or something like that. The final payment's like 1,000 of it. So it encourages longevity and things like that. So I'm ready to hit the ground running. And the first truck that makes sense, I'm going to be on it like white on rice. Robbie Ross, channel member and moderator. I didn't know Charlie Kirk resided in Phoenix. They said Turning Point is based in Phoenix also. Yeah, I saw today on the news that Air Force Two, which that's the vice president's airplane, is going to pick his body up and take it to Phoenix for the family. I also saw that President Trump is going to be meeting with the family and friends of Charlie Kirk. If you saw his speech, he was pretty tore up about it. I think it caught all of us by surprise. I saw a YouTube video where somebody challenged him to a fight, things like that. And I figured at some point somebody would try to run at him and attack him, but I never thought somebody would try to shoot him. That's crazy. Ted Van Buskirk, y'all hit that like and thumbs up. Yeah, please do. I appreciate that, Ted. Thank y'all for that. We've got a good crowd tonight. Got about 50 people in here. Steve Given, all brand new trucks. I have not seen a brand new truck yet, nor do I anticipate seeing one. So far, everything I've seen's ranged from 20 to 24. And they told us that a while back they stopped buying new trucks when kind of the market tanked. I think they're going to start buying again soon. And so there should be some new coming in later. But most experienced guys don't want a brand new truck. Most of them want one with 50 or 60,000 miles on it, because a lot of times when you get a brand new truck out of the factory, there will be stuff that was missed, bolts that were loose, stuff that wasn't plugged in. They're supposed to check all that stuff. And sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Now, a good friend of mine, real good friend of mine, I thought I was going to get to see him today, and it didn't work out. He was passing through here where I'm at. He got a brand new truck recently, but his truck was a special circumstance. It was the previous one had some problems, and they made him another one, and they went through it thoroughly because of his situation. So his truck, I don't anticipate any of those out of the dealer or out of the manufacturer defects. I think his truck's going to probably be great. And so far, I talk to him usually every day. I haven't heard him mention any faults with the truck that needed to be addressed. I know sometimes if he's talking, his Apple CarPlay on his digital screen will screw up his phone and take it off his Bluetooth and put it on the truck radio or something like that. But he hasn't had any mechanical defects that you might expect on a brand new truck. But I said all that to say this: if they had one with 50 or 60,000 miles on it, that'd be the one that would be the ideal truck for me. They're not going to have that. I know that. They told me that before I even came to orientation. That's another thing. They've been super honest with me. In sales, they call it setting expectations. My expectations were right when I come here. And so far, everything's been either what they said or better than what they said. There's a couple of policies they changed that made things actually better than what they told me. So I'm extremely happy. Ideally, I'm probably going to be looking at a truck with 300,000 or 400,000 miles on it. My last one had almost 700,000 on it, so it's still going to be a step in the right direction. But I've told y'all all along that what I want and what I'm actually going to get in this situation may be slightly different. That accident really hindered a lot of things, and where I live really hinders a lot of things. This was the only company that I called that they seemed excited when I told them I lived in Lubbock, Texas. And you do see a lot of their trucks in Lubbock, Texas. Everybody else was like, yeah, we might could hire you. How long you want to stay out? Would you stay out 3 months? Would you stay out 6 weeks? How long would you stay out? And do I think this is going to be better than SRO Logistics? I don't know. That's a pretty high bar. I still like SRO Logistics. It's going to, time will tell. Maybe it'll be as good or better. But man, when you say SRO Logistics, the bar's pretty high. I don't know if we can top that or not. I hope so. But I can't tell you week one. I'll let you know. Give me 6 months and I'll tell you. Robbie Ross, channel member moderator. You want the membership numbers to go up. They are up 300 and I think it's 318%. I appreciate you and Newman Attack for making that happen. I'm never going to say I'm never going to say anything because I can't talk. I'm never going to say no to more channel memberships. If you guys would like to gift some, that would be awesome. That would be greatly appreciated. And so I'm going to leave that up to you, my friend. Todd Packer, what's the company? Just recorded the video prior to this live stream. It's coming out at 9 a.m. in the morning, and all of your questions will be answered. In the entertainment world, that's called a hook. All right, let's get down here. Thank you to Robbie Ross, who's a channel member and moderator. He just gifted 5 memberships. Let's see who the lucky people are. Fran Mariah. I remember her. Is she in here tonight? Fran and I worked together at Swift, 3 years ago or so. It's good to have her back in here. Also, Davenport family was gifted a membership. Brad Stratford, ROG Ford, and RGB. Wow, is that the RGB that has the video game channel? I'm not sure, but anyway, congratulations to you 5. Thank you to Robbie Ross for doing that. He, I've talked about him before. We've been friends all the way back since my Roadrunner days, and he's been a good, loyal friend, as have many of you, but really supportive of the channel. And in the good times and bad, during the stroke and after the stroke and before, even when I was doing something stupid or making a mistake, he's always been supportive. And so really good friend. I hope everybody here has as good a friend as what Robbie Ross has been over the years. Blue Smoke says, I discovered Charlie Kirk a few years ago. He was talking real bad about a segment of the Black community. I found it offensive, and that was the end of him for me, but he should not have been killed. I would like to hear what he said. What I've heard him say, and I'll admit I haven't heard everything. You've got more access with him than I have. What I've heard him say is that fatherless households in the Black community is what is hurting that community the most. And I would expand that. I would say fathers without, or homes without fathers, is hurting everybody. Kids need to be raised by two parents, and so I would expand that past the black community. I've also heard him talk about black on black crime, and I would say that is a serious problem. But I mean, I think we can expand that too. Let's quit worrying about what race is hurting what race, and let's just say violence in general against another person. You know, if I walk up and kick you in the leg, it's bad whether you're black or white. And if I walk up and throat punch you, it's bad whether you're Asian, Hispanic, or white. Bad is bad and good is good. And all we do when we divide stuff up is divide people, and we don't need that right now. Some guy said you abandoned the truck on Fly Rabbit's channel. I said you had no choice with Scott's 20% and the truck breaking down. So I'm not going to do a lot of commenting on this tonight. All I can tell you is the truck was not abandoned. I was asked to take the trailer, which I had through SRO Logistics, to Metro Trailer Rentals in Dallas. I've got the trailer receipt where you turn it in. I've shown it to some of you, and I can show it to more of you. If it's important to you, email me. I'll send it to you. And I took the truck to a drop lot that I was asked to take it to from the guy I'm buying the truck from. And I've got the text messages of him asking me if I've dropped it yet. And I've texted him back and told him where I put the keys. I also told him I had forgot to get the license plates on it and that I would come back and get those off the next day. Now, you might be saying, well, Todd, how'd you do that? My uncle followed me to Dallas. We drove back to Lubbock that night. The next day, actually, it was later in the afternoon because that was a crazy mess. The place I was supposed to take my drug screen was closed on Saturday. And the place that I was supposed to get the rental car closed before I got the rental car information. So I ended up having to go out to the airport to get a rental car. But anyway, that night around 12:30, I went back to the drop lot and got the license plate off so that I could mail all that stuff to SRO Logistics, which I've already done. And then I believe it was the next day, he texted me and asked me if I had got the plate off already. And I said, yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot to text you. I've been busy. I've got those text messages. If anybody needs to see that to feel good about it, just email me at todd@truckertodd.net. Now, am I innocent? No. Anytime you don't complete a purchase, you're not innocent. Did I deserve the over-hour tirade where they talked about me and a lot of false, slanderous things were said? No, I didn't deserve that either. Do I deserve the YouTube channels that are still talking about me and saying things that aren't true and making fun of me? No, I don't deserve that either, but they're going to do what they're going to do. I've done moved on from it. I'm not watching their content. They used to be really big fans of this channel until I said I wouldn't go to work for them. And once I said I wouldn't go to work for him, then I'm the worst guy in the world. And I'm not saying he's a bad guy. And I'm not saying that he didn't treat me really good. But I'm saying when I realized we were at the end of the road, we both could have handled this situation better. There's probably things I could have done to handle it better. And I think there's things he could have done to handle it better as well. Now, I'm willing to admit there's probably things I could have done to handle it better. And I think he knows, he may never admit it, I think he knows there's things he could have done to handle it better. But I asked him to pull the video. He has not pulled the video. So I'm guessing he stands by his statements, his actions, and behaviors. And if he's cool with it, I'm cool with it. Todd Packers. Okay, I've got that one already. Let's go to the next one. Newman Attack, channel member, trying to show me up. Yes, sir. I guess so. Todd Packer, black communities have a lot of problems. Get your stuff together before getting mad. Yeah, I think we've all got a lot of problems right now. None of us have arrived. And I think that's the problem right now, or one of the many problems. It's real easy for me to see the things wrong in your life. And it's real easy. And I don't mean you personally, Todd Packer. I mean you in general. It's real easy for everyone to see my flaws and shortcomings. And it's real easy for me to see everyone else's flaws and shortcomings. And I'll give you an example in the Christian world. It's real easy to say whatever sin you have in your life is wrong, but we don't realize we've got the same sin. God don't like any sin. So if I'm cheating on my wife, or I'm stealing or something like that, that's just as bad as the homosexual or something like that. God doesn't like any sin. And so we need to keep that in mind as well. Right now, it's real easy to come on YouTube, look at my 600 and something videos, and pick me apart. I made mistakes. I did stuff wrong. If I had it to do over again, would I do some of it over? Yeah, probably. But guess what? You did too. You know what's funny? The same people that are out there making videos, talking bad about me, saying that, oh, I really screwed them. I didn't pay for the truck. They've also had lease purchases they didn't complete. A lot of them. One of the guys that's been mentioned in the comments already, he's done several companies this way. The current company he's at, he owes like $4,000 or $5,000 to. So we all have made mistakes. We've all made bad decisions. Starting a business is always a risk. There's no business you can start that has no risk. If there was, we'd all do it because it'd be profit without any risk. There's a greater chance you'll fail starting a business than if you're a company and employee. That's a fact. 100% of all businesses will fail at some point. That is also a fact. And it may be that they get bought out or something, but at some point, all businesses will fail. Anybody remember Kodak and what they used to be? Eastman Kodak. What are they now? They're a shell of the company they used to be. Something like 80% of restaurants don't make it 5 years. Starting a business is risky. Starting a business is hard. You're going to struggle. You're going to need help. And I don't mean financial help necessarily. You're going to need a supportive family. You're going to need supportive friends. And heck, you may need help. You may need a credit line from your bank. You may need that buddy to come through for you. It's tough. If it was easy, everybody would do it. And, I think YouTube is great for a lot of things, but I think a lot of drivers have came on here and made it seem like, oh yeah, just do a lease purchase. You'll get rich. All your problems will go away. Just use my referral code. And I've heard that the last few days that, oh, Todd, you're just after a referral bonus. Except the only problem with that is for the last 2 years, I've been doing everything I could to stay at a company with 5 or 6 trucks. How many referral bonuses you think I'm going to get at a company with 5 or 6 trucks? See, they don't want to talk about that. But it doesn't fit their narrative, and they need something that fits their narrative. Todd Packer, we've already read that one, so we're caught up on the comments. It's been a great show. I appreciate everybody being here. We're at the 1.5 hour mark. I know we've said it a lot. Unfortunately, it's the housekeeping of YouTube and the other platforms we're on. I think people forget we're simulcasting to 5 different places right now. Make sure and give this video a thumbs up. Share it on your social media platforms and subscribe. You people on the replay crew, leave me a comment, even if it's just a dot or a hi or something like that. That helps me in the algorithms. Those of you that, well, I don't know what I was going to say. Anyway, I don't want to leave because we got 52 people here, but y'all got to talk because I'm old and I forget what I say, and I'll say the same things over and over like a broken record if you guys don't talk. If you're in here from the recruiting class, or not recruiting class, so you got me talking about recruiting now, orientation class, Don't say what company we're at. That'll come out at 9 in the morning, but stop in and say hi. This is such and such from the class. I'm going to give you guys a couple more minutes to see if the comments come in. If they don't, then I'm going to check out of here and go and walk among the living and talk to people and shake hands and kiss babies and all that good stuff. Call back some people that I've been promising them all day I'd call them. All right, I'm going to give it another couple of seconds. Pistol Packing Patriot says, unfortunately, your replays have too many commercials. I tried to watch one last night. Yes, sir, I agree with you. And I have absolutely no control over that. That's something YouTube's doing. They're now putting more commercials in there and paying us less. The only way you can combat that I'm aware of is become a YouTube premium member. Also on the commercials, as soon as it says skip, you can hit skip and skip to the commercials. The commercials, I'll be honest with you, that's how I get paid. But I don't like commercials just like you do. And I wish there was less of them. But yeah, I would agree there's a lot of commercials. But if you're YouTube premium, you should be avoiding those commercials. P.U. Patel, channel member. Man, it's good to see you again. I mentioned you earlier when I was calling out the channel members, and I thought, well, I hadn't seen PU in here. I'm glad you made it in tonight. Says, did you get a truck yet? Not sure if you said. No, I've gone through 2 truck selections, haven't got one yet. I'm really optimistic about tomorrow. I knew it was going to be like this before I came here. The company was really, really honest with me about that. So no harm, no foul. Matter of fact, nobody here is upset that I'm aware of. Everybody's having a great time. As far as where I'm working, that's coming out tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Everybody that is subscribed to the channel should receive a notification if you click that bell and select all after you hit subscribe, and it'll tell you when that video comes out. So it'll go out first to YouTube, and then I'll send it to the other platforms just as soon as I can throughout the morning. Big O. Hey, Todd, I'm here at DART about to start the JCPenney dedicated account. Are you familiar with it? So I am, but some of my information's old. Let me tell you what I know. I'll start at the beginning. Back in 1996, when I started driving a truck, my trainer at Swift was on the JCPenney dedicated account. I pulled it back then, and it was a good account to be on. They used specialized trailers that had smaller tires, and the floor was weird where they could put more freight in it. Generally speaking, the loads were lightweight, a lot of clothing, things like that. I've pulled a couple of loads since then for JCPenney's. I wasn't on the dedicated account, and all of them I pulled were an excellent experience. I think you're going to like it. I think you're going to do really well on it. Somebody can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but you're at a great company. DART's a great company. Just stay out of the Lancaster, Texas shop and you'll be fine. But the JCPenney's dedicated account, I think you're going to do really well and be really happy. Please, 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 after you've done it for a little while, email me at todd@truckertodd.net or come back on one of these videos and leave me a comment and let me know how you're doing. So I can share it with other people. If somebody else calls me and asks me about it, I can tell them, and I'll be getting it straight from the horse's mouth from somebody that's actually doing it. But man, I'm rooting for you just because it's DART. I'm always going to have a special place in my heart for them. And anytime I've ever dealt with JCPenney's, it's been a good experience. So I think you're in a good place at the right time. Especially now, this time of year. Let me say one more thing on it. You know, even though we're a few months away from Christmas, they're going to start ramping up for that. And so I think you're going to be really busy the next few months, which is good for you. Pistol Packing Patriot. YouTube is going to force creators into getting their own app. At some point, it will become affordable. Yeah, it happens. I mean, we all remember MySpace. I don't think anybody uses MySpace now. Everybody went to Facebook. And eventually we'll leave Facebook and we'll go to something else. And same thing that is happening here is, one day something will replace YouTube. YouTube will still be around, but it won't be the default choice we all go to. If you guys hear of a social media platform that you'd like to see me on, let me know. I'll see if I can sync it up and simulcast there too. The goal of me and any creator is to get in front of as many people as we can. So if you guys know of somewhere, some of you have mentioned Rumble and some things like that, and I'm open to anything. I'll have to do some research and figure out how to get on there. But if there's one that you've watched other people on, you think it's good, you see potential there, please email me at Todd at truckertodd.net, or text me if you got my number, and I'll sure look into it. Robbie Ross, channel member moderator. I did a JCPenney load recently. The DC was so empty. Yeah, and there could be reasons for that. But what I liked, it was a real straightforward pickup and delivery. The staff seemed like they were happy to be there. You guys know, when you go to a Walmart, everybody seems like they're miserable there. They don't want to be there. When you go to a Costco, everybody seems happy. So it's the culture at these companies. And I got a positive vibe at JCPenney's. If the company I'm at now, I don't think they deal with JCPenney's, but if my first load out of the gate was a JCPenney's load, I'd be fine with it. I'd be excited to do it. But then I'm pretty open-minded. I like Target. I like, I'm not going to start naming off places I like and don't like, because I'll offend a bunch of people. But yeah, I've never had a bad experience at JCPenney's or heard of anybody else having a bad experience at JCPenney's. All right, I'm going to pull that off of there. What else y'all got for me tonight? It'd be criminal for me to leave with 53 people watching. That's big numbers for these lives. The channel's starting to come back. I'm starting to get back in the algorithms because I'm pumping out more videos. And you guys are doing your part. You're doing the thumbs up. You're subscribing. You're doing the channel memberships. All of that. It's none of this happens without y'all, and that's why I keep thanking y'all. I'm not some maniac that thinks I did this all on my own. I know the part that y'all played in it. Pistol Packing Patriot. I like that name, by the way. Warrior Poet Society branched off YouTube with his very own app. This way, he is in total control of the content. Yeah, but how does he monetize it? And before you guys start eating me alive on monetization, let me talk about that for a second. Do I make money off all this stuff? Absolutely. Do I make money off most of the products I endorse? Absolutely. If you saw how much time's involved, the orientation class can tell you, if you saw what it takes to do this, you'd want me to be paid. And it's not I heard one channel say I make $3,800 a month. I can promise you it's nowhere near that. It is a few $100s a month, not counting the endorsements and things like that. It does help, but it's not retirement money, or I'd be retired. So I know there's some jealousy out there, things like that. But yeah, I'm here to make money. Everything I do is to make money. But that doesn't mean I compromise my principles. I still come on here and tell the truth while I'm making money. I believe you can do both. I never lied when I sold cars. I told the people the truth. Now sometimes I was wrong. I remember when I sold used cars in Amarillo. Guy showed up on the lot. He had got a big lawsuit settlement or something. He had a lot of money. Wanted to buy a car. He said, "Todd, what's the best car on the lot?" I said, "It's that Mercury Cougar up there. We just got it in." I said, "If I was going to buy a car off this lot, that's the one I would buy." He went and drove it. I agree, man. This car's like new. It's great. He took it home that night, called me the next morning, said, "Todd, the engine went out on that car last night. And you told me it was the best car on the lot." And I thought he was joking because we'd been joking all day. I'm like, "Yeah, right." He's like, "No, I'm serious. The engine blew." I said, "You know what?" I said, "Give me a few minutes. Let me make some phone calls." So I called my sales manager and told him what happened. I said, "Man, we got to take care of this guy." He says, "What do you think we should do? Should we give him his down payment back, cancel the deal?" I said, "No, it's a good car. I think we ought to make the car right. We ought to put a new engine in it." He's like, "Man, if we do that, we're going to lose money on this deal." I said, "I would rather lose money on a deal than lose my reputation." I said, "If I don't get paid a commission on this deal, it's fine. We need to take care of this guy." I told this guy it was the best car on the lot. He said, "All right." He said, "Get an address. I'll send a tow truck. We'll put an engine in it." So I called the guy back and he thought I was joking. He's like, "Really? You're going to do that?" I was like, "Yeah." He said, "I thought you was going to try to screw me over." No, that's not me. I'm not going to intentionally screw anybody over. I've referred over 200 people to companies since I started the YouTube channel, way over 200 people. I have never once had somebody come to me, not even one, say, "Hey, Todd, I feel like you lied to me to get me to go to this company. I feel like you ripped me off to get me to go to this company." I have had people call and say, "Yeah, I tried it. It wasn't for me, but everything you said was true." And that's something I hold a lot of pride in. I want you to be able to run into me at Walmart and we shake hands and be friends. Or you see me at a truck stop and you want to hang out. I don't want you showing up telling me you lost your house because of me or your vehicle got repoed because of me. Oh, that's another thing. I helped one guy save his house. He called me crying. He's like, "Man, I can't believe you were able to help me." Helped another guy save his pickup that had been repossessed. Now, I don't come on here and talk about that. The only reason I'm doing it now is because it fit with what I was talking about. So, it's not for you to say, "Oh, Todd, you're so great. You're so great." But it's for you to see that there's a whole world out there beyond recruiting and referral bonuses. Now, if I'm at a company that offers them and you want to come to this company, sure, I would appreciate you putting me down. I could use the money. If you come here and you hadn't put me down, am I going to help you? Absolutely. And if I can't help you, I'm going to try to get you in contact with somebody that can. Me helping you is not contingent on you putting me down for a referral bonus or anything else. It's contingent on you calling me or emailing me. That's what it's contingent on. Now I may ask you, "Hey, did you put me down or not?" Because I'm going to check and make sure I got paid if you did put me down. But my answers are going to be the same to you regardless. And I'm going to want to know how you're doing. Most of you that email me know, even if you're at a different company, which I don't make a penny off of, I do that time freely. I say, "Hey, let me know how it's going." Some of you do, some of you don't. But I'm genuinely curious how everybody's doing. I want everybody to be successful. And I wish that everybody wanted me to be successful. But that's not the case. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that would really like to see me fall on my face. Pistol packing Patriot, not exactly sure how he does that. It costs me $10 a month to have access to it, and he promotes tons of stuff. So he makes money for sure. YouTube kept messing with him. So now he's got all the decisions. Yeah, I will bet you his channel's a lot larger than mine. I would have to have a pretty significant amount of people paying $10 a month for it to equal what I do on YouTube. And I just don't think we're there yet. We've got a lot of channel memberships, but those are due to very generous people that love and support the channel, like Robbie Ross and Newman Attack. And I don't know if they would do that on another platform. But yeah, if we get up to 15, 20,000 subscribers, maybe that's something we take a look at. Right now, I'm struggling to even get a merchandise store going, which everybody wants. Somebody mentioned it in class today. They wanted a Trucker Todd hat. So I said, me too. So hopefully I can get one of those soon. All right, we're caught up once again. Almost at the 2-hour mark, 1 hour and 45 minutes. Anything else you guys want to discuss tonight? I don't have to like rush to bed because my next deal tomorrow is at 2 p.m. But I do need to get out and do some things and all of that, return phone calls and stuff. So when y'all are done, I'm done. Give you just a couple more seconds before we wrap this up. Normally, everybody's going to bed about this time. Somebody teased me in class today that my voice is very soothing and puts them to sleep. And I was telling them some funny stories about that. Sometimes I am, sometimes you're on fire and sometimes you're kind of mellow. And I'm generally a mellow guy. Don't get wound up a lot. But yeah, that's, I thought it was pretty funny though. All right, folks, I guess that's it. I'm going to go ahead and step out of here. You guys have a great night. Thanks for watching. I'm going to do the normal things that irritate the trolls. Y'all have a good night, and here's the exit music. We'll see you on the next one.
And this is why I do this, why I'm out here, why I keep that hammer down. Flying by these road signs, with home on my mind, with these wheels turning round. For my family and for my kids, for this life I wanna live. And this is why